After finishing up the mission, he gets his hands on this blood demon cloak. It lets him turn into some kind of evil spirit, invisible and nearly untouchable. But there's a catch. While he's using it, he can't attack anyone. Our guy grumbles about the system and gears up for his next move. Classic sneak. Just then, he realizes something's off. It's been 3 days, and the professor still hasn't shown up. What's going on? So he jumps into the vision world, spends 500 coins, and checks out the YouTuber's chat. The blood doll is asking, "Queen? Queen, how did it go? That human apprentice of blood saw everything. How was his death? Spill it." The queen answers, "Oh, he got what was coming to him." The doll wants details. "How was it? Did he suffer much?" The queen replies, "Yeah, he was strong, but after hitting him hard a bunch of times, he finally went down." The burnt mummy asks, "What do you mean he was strong? What happened?" She says, "Everything went as planned. She ate him up, just in a different way." Our guy is left thinking, "Damn, this woman is so shameless." He heads over to the regional channel. No info there either. So he tries the global channel to see if he can find anything. With no luck, he posts a message asking if anyone's seen the Chainsaw Maniac. But posting costs 1,000 coins. At that moment, a pentagram pops up. Someone's trying to get in touch with him. Now he sees this gargoyle in the territory world. Basically a link between dark worlds and others, but it needs sacrifices. Lin gets pumped. Wait, connect with other worlds? With the right sacrifice, could I get back to my own world? But when he tries to use it, the system says, "You don't have the necessary permissions for this function." Looks like he'll need to level up to unlock it. But he does have access to the trading area now, so he decides to check it out. There are all these shops selling spells, powers, and weapons. One shop with a skull has high-level stuff for humans. Another one sells organs and limbs for connecting with others. There's even one that sells friends who can keep you up all night. Our hero feels like he's in a video game. Was the creator of this world some internet junkie? The system says he can teleport to any shop he wants, and that opening his own shop costs 10,000 gold coins. So he decides to create one called Bloodchain's Pharmacy. But when he tries to set it up, it says, "Duplicate information. The Bloodchain's Pharmacy store already exists." What the heck? He thinks. Wait a minute. He teleports and finds himself in front of a big door. Does the boss already have a shop here? He opens the door, but the shop needs a password to get in. Not knowing it, he starts guessing based on what the professor might like. He tries things like, "Single for 200 years. The disciple is the cutest." What is this nonsense? Clearly, he's missing the mark. "I love you, Lin." Bingo. He got the password right. When he steps into the shop, he sees it's almost a carbon copy of theirs in the real world. But it could use a little sprucing up. The system informs him that entering or exiting the shop costs 500 skull coins. Fortunately, the shop has 4,000 coins saved up. Lin takes a look at the store's history and sees that his professor was selling all kinds of organs and monster parts. It all starts to click. When the professor showed up with that bag, he went straight to the operating room, sliced up the monsters, and brought everything here. The underworld shop is just a cover for where the money really comes from. Lin is even more impressed. The monsters the professor was dealing with are pretty powerful, judging by their names. There are a lot of them, which just shows how strong the professor must be. Lin then finds a note left behind. A few days ago, an old friend invited the professor to check out something called the Hanging Tower. Turns out the professor has been part of the Demon Association for 10 years. Lin figures this is the professor's last known location. Since the professor is already mixed up with the association, it shouldn't be a big deal, right? So Lin decides to jump on this opportunity. Being in this world is a great chance to make more money than ever. With the cash, he plans to upgrade the shop. He heads to the back to whip up more of those crucial attack potions that cause baldness. With the potions ready, it's time to advertise. He still needs to spend another 1,000 coins to put up a giant billboard. He waits by the door, hoping for a crowd. But no one shows up. They'll come soon, right? He wonders. Maybe I need to spend a bit more on marketing. But the shop is still covered in cobwebs. Nobody's coming. Damn it! I've already blown 5,000 coins. Why isn't anyone coming? You know what? Time to switch tactics. He puts a succubus with a potion that makes a guy resistant to her gymnastics on top of his marketing efforts. The sly move is now the king of promotion. He sets up a bunch of fake profiles to comment on his store. He's sure they'll start showing up. And sure enough, a bunch of monsters arrive, eager to check out the shop. The monsters are asking, "Boss, Is it true you sell a potion that makes me irresistible to women? I need it. My girl just dumped me, and I need this potion to prove I can handle a succubus. Lin is baffled. Why did this marketing work so well? He almost feels sorry for these creatures. Wow, so many people. But I only have 30 potions. What do I do? Naturally, the ones with more cash start bidding. I'll pay more than anyone, 4,000 for a bottle, says a small skeleton, tossing coins into a chest. Do you think you're the only one with money here, jerk? Boss, 5,000 for the bottle. I want all 30 now. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 500. Everyone's desperate. Our boy is just standing there drooling, saying, "Don't fight." All right, folks, let's not get too crazy. There's enough to go around. Total lie. Because he knows there definitely isn't. He thinks, I didn't mess up, did I? Then it hits him. Oh no. I'm about to make everyone bald here. I need to get back and whip up a hair growth potion. Better let everyone know he's coming back. Cut to an army of elves fighting a horde of creatures. Did they buy the bald potion? A soldier shows up with a box, saying, "Leader, the supplies have arrived. This potion supposedly doubles your critical hits. It's supposed to be incredible," says Legolas, looking skeptical. Doubles? How can something work so well? What's the catch? The soldier replies, "Nobody knows yet, sir." Just then, a group of monsters closes in. The leader commands, "Defend yourselves. Everyone, raise your spears." The battle kicks off. I'll just have to trust this potion. He drinks it. A purple aura surrounds him. This power? Ah, what's happening? Boom. I'm so much stronger. Captain, your hair... But the captain just shrugs it off. Doesn't matter. He throws a spear into the air, taking out a distant creature. In the next moment, everyone is flying. Bald. The newspaper headlines read, "Strange incidents across Sin City, mostly involving bald heads." Meanwhile, our hero keeps churning out more potions. 10 reputation points in Sin City. 5 popularity points with the Black Elves. He's a bit puzzled, but there's no time to dwell on it. Potion production continues. He's now working on a potion that can quickly heal any injury, even lost limbs, though there are some minor side effects. Just as he's working, someone knocks on the door. Oops. Hey there, friend. Yeah, missing an arm, huh? The system notes her combat skills are low, but she's not totally weak. No. In this dark world, she's struggling to keep up with other species. Our protagonist invites her in and asks her to take a seat. She nervously explains that a monster ate her arm, and she needs treatment or she'll die. "Can you help me?" she asks desperately. Lin gets a mission to rebuild her arm. With 10 more trust points, she drinks the potion. He quickly realizes she's pretty gullible. The first time, Lin suggests using anesthesia, but she refuses, saying, "It'll slow me down, so I'd rather just tough it out." "Are you sure?" he asks. "Yes, I'm absolutely sure." "Great. You're the second bravest person I've met." She's already strapped down. "Go ahead. I'm ready. I'm like a fish on the chopping board." After a bit, phew, all done. The system gives him points. The poor girl is completely wiped out. "There," he says, removing the cloth from her mouth. "Told you it would be quick." Now we can move on to the next phase. He frees her, and the girl stands up saying, "Wow, it feels like I woke up from a nightmare." However, she's still shy, expressing how impressed she was by his generosity. He gains more favorability. Lin is confused. What kind of person suffers so much and still increases in favorability? He then pulls out a green vial and says, "Now that we've dealt with any potential infection, we need to start building your new arm." He gets up, saying he'll fetch the best potion of all. He's about to use the new potion that no one even knows the side effects of yet. He warns her, "This is a new potion, so I'm not sure if it will work." However, with a foolish look, she quickly takes it, opens it and drinks it, saying, "My resistance is very high. Potions don't work well on me." He turns to her and says, "Trust me, I'll make it work. If it doesn't, I won't charge you anything." She replies, "Okay then, what do you want to do?" Instead of drinking it further, he pours it on her arm. The bandages fall off and her arm begins to reconstitute itself. Our hero is excited, but she still seems skeptical. It feels like the effect is kind of strange. Like I'm installing a metal arm. Then she starts to notice the progress. "Doctor, it's really working," she exclaims. "It's kind of incredible, isn't it?" Lin thinks, "Wow, the recovery is better than I expected, and apparently there are no side effects. It's perfect." He asks, What did you feel when you drank it? She says, I felt kind of numb. Anything else? It was quite comfortable, but it also felt like something else grew. I don't know. Strange. Lin is confused. Something else? What do you mean? Suddenly, a big tail starts emerging from her back. Lin has lost his sanity at this point, as the slimy tail caresses her face. She's there, all innocent. Oh, don't tease me like that. Doctor, could you open your eyes and take a look? She glances at it, confused, as the tail waves from side to side. Lin's sanity is already dropping by 60%. It's entering and going too deep? She asks. Going, he repeats. She says, it's in a strange and tight place. Lin pulls at the tail and gives it a hard stare. Huh? But it's coming out of your shoulder. Hold on a second. He gives it a hack. Disconnected. But the thing is still following her. Our guy smashes it. She asks, Hey doctor, what's happening? Why was there a tentacle coming out of my shoulder? Lin shamelessly responds, Don't worry, it's just a small side effect. Nothing major. She's confused. What kind of potion did you give me? I don't mind growing tentacles, but what if something even stranger grows? It's clearly not a restoration potion, but a mutation one. Lin uses more medicine, but the big tentacle is already coming out again. This time it's really a tail, and he immediately cuts it off. However, now it's emerging from all over her armor. Our guy is frantically slashing away as butterfly wings start sprouting from her back. She gets excited. Don't cut those. But it's too late. He already cut it off. She says, I told you not to cut it. 10 minutes later, she's lying on the bed, and Lin finally completes the mission. He asks, How do you feel? She replies, I feel like my body is covered in strange things. Our guy tells her to stop lying. I already cut everything. It's just a hallucination. Feeling disappointed, she heads for the door. Okay, can I go now? Lin says, Of course, just don't forget to leave a like in our store for an 11% discount. But at that moment, he stops her. Wait a minute. She asks, What's wrong? When you drank the potion, I didn't cut anything important. Are you sure there's nothing still inside your body? She looks at herself and says, I don't think so. Okay then. Maybe this potion doesn't always cause mutations. See you next time. Feeling successful, Lin thinks he can now sell the potion online. But then he notices a bag of coins on the ground. It used to be hidden in her bra, and now that she's left, she doesn't seem to need them anymore. Suddenly, Lin realizes that that is what grew because of the potion. He decides he must return the money and prevent her chest from growing even larger. But when he steps outside, she's already gone. Lin, feeling a sense of responsibility, thinks, As a doctor, I made a really bad mistake. I need to find a way to contact her and apologize. Just as he prepares to close up the shop, the lamp flickers and the system gives a warning. The Bloody Night mission has been activated. Try in any way to survive until the next daybreak. 2,000 coins and 2,000 experience. Oh no, this isn't going to be easy, he mutters. Text starts floating before his eyes, warning him to be cautious. He recognizes the handwriting. It's from his professor. A cryptic message indicating something bad is coming. Immediately, Lin grabs everything he can. Potions, a heart, a pistol, a dagger, anything that will help him survive. He knows the greater the reward, the greater the danger. Realizing how dangerous the situation is, he decides to leave the shop. Obviously, he's planning to spend the night at the red-haired girl's house, right? But as he tries to sneak out through the back door, something crashes through the front. Lin braces himself, armed with everything he can muster to protect himself. He hears the sound of potions being smashed inside the shop. His skull coins are depleting rapidly. What the hell? He exclaims. Losing all my money is worse than losing my life. I won't let this go unpunished. Determined, he tells the system to reactivate the Blood Witch's curse and deactivate the pistols. With the curse lifted from the gun, he figures he'll be able to deal with whatever is attacking. The sounds grow closer. Lin thought the creature was heading for the door, but it suddenly changed direction, moving toward the back. Before he could react, a monstrous blow smashed through the wall, taking Lin along with it. He was hurled to the ground, coughing up blood. The beast had used some kind of portal to breach the wall. Struggling to stay conscious, Lin managed to catch a glimpse of the creature, a hideous towering monster, an embodiment of evil. Hellwalker. Its very presence was suffocating. Tentacles began crawling up Lin's leg, sprouting from the creature and slowly consuming his flesh and blood. The monster seemed to analyze Lin's body, deciding he wasn't suitable for absorption. With a swift, brutal motion, it blew off Lin's leg. Seriously? This much? Lin gasped, overwhelmed with pain. His heart pounded in his chest as he raised his pistol, firing a desperate shot. The bullet struck the monster in the eye, momentarily sending it into a frenzy. Seizing the moment, Lin quickly donned his blood cape, transforming into an untouchable evil spirit. As the Hellwalker underwent some strange transformation, thrashing violently, Lin took the opportunity to flee. He dived into a pile of barrels, his body beaten and broken. These past few days were so easy. I forgot just how quickly you can die in this world, he thought. As he hid, he felt something ominous happening to his leg. A bizarre mutation was beginning to take hold. Lin tried to stop the process, but it was futile. The system warned him. Side effect proliferation beginning. Your body will undergo a level 1 mutation. Tentacles started to sprout from his injured leg, quickly advancing to a level 2 mutation. Now more tentacles, and even an eye were growing from the back of his neck. Meanwhile, the Hellwalker continued to thrash around, sensing Lin's presence but unable to locate him directly. The creature launched a devastating attack, but Lin, now resembling a twisted version of Spider-Man, clung to the wall with his newly mutated tentacles, grinning like a madman. Now you're finished, he thought, firing bullets at the monster. But the Hellwalker, imbued with some sacred attribute, simply stopped the bullets in midair and discarded them effortlessly. Lin's confidence wavered. Okay, it's time to run, he told himself, scrambling to escape. But the demon could still see him, even through his blood cape. It locked eyes with him, and his skin began to melt from the sheer power of its gaze. Desperate, Lin poured the mutation-inducing potion onto his own face. His body was already mutating, so he figured more couldn't hurt. The system warned him again. Your body is undergoing another mutation. Just as the Hellwalker launched another attack, Lin's back erupted in a digital explosion of new growths, narrowly avoiding the creature's grasp. Confused and terrified, Lin realized that his mutations were now beyond his control. I'm wearing a cape. How can he still attack me? Lin thought frantically as he narrowly avoided being caught again. He sprinted through the chaos, his heart pounding. Desperate, he poured more poison on his body, and suddenly, new eyes grew on his mutated flesh. Eyes that could see ghost energy. He finally understood the truth. The monster's hand was spiritual, which explained why it kept beating him up despite the cape's protection. The new eyes revealed that the entire area was filled with spiritual eyes, all watching him. The cape is useless, Lin realized, throwing it aside. Jumping back into the store, Lin searched frantically for more potions. But the spiritual hand was closing in on him, its presence heavy and overwhelming. Lin sensed some distant explosions, the sound of a potion designed to repel evil spirits. The hand is already here, he muttered, but he grinned like a maniac as he pulled out the anti-spirit potion. He hurled it at the spiritual hand, and for a brief moment, it faltered. Lin could see the hand trying to escape, and he moved quickly to finish it off. But before he could land the final blow, the creature grabbed his spine. Lin's mind raced. Is this the same monster that bit the girl's arm? As the creature fully regenerated, Lin realized that it was resistant to the anti-spirit potion, but he still had a chance. Twisting painfully, he threw himself to the ground, severing one of the monster's arms in the process. But the cost was high. His spine was broken, yet somehow Lin was still moving, defying biology as he continued to fight. Lin stumbled through the chaos, his broken spine not stopping him thanks to the cursed heart inside his chest. Smiling grimly, he ripped the heart out of his body and hurled it toward the monster, sending a wave of cursed spirits into its flesh. The curse did its work, circulating through the creature's body, weakening it from within. Will it work? Lin wondered, as the system warned him that the creature's energy center was collapsing. For the first time in what felt like hours, Lin felt a surge of confidence. But then the creature initiated an emergency repair. I have to finish this now, Lin growled, pulling out a saw blade and charging forward. The monster's heart was absorbing everything around it, growing stronger. Lin dropped to his knees, exhausted. One more potion, one more gulp. I need to survive, no matter what I become, Lin whispered, his voice barely a rasp. He drank the potion, screaming as something burst from his eye. The system chimed in. You have reached a level 3 mutation. Your physique and willpower cannot fully control this mutation. Current mutation, snake brain. You control 31% of it. Lin's face contorted as the snake brain took over, but he knew it was the only way. The snake inside him lunged toward the creature's heart, devouring it with brutal efficiency. Just when Lin thought he had gained the upper hand, the monster regenerated once more, its eyes locking onto his. It was ready for round 2. As Lin faces the relentless creature, knowing that once it reaches 100%, his chances of survival will vanish, a figure approaches from afar. It's the red-haired woman, beaten up but still standing strong. "You're looking quite different today, sweetheart," she says with a teasing grin as she approaches. "Some kind of special performance?" Lin, desperate, responds, "Yes, exactly. Do you want to help me out?" "I might," she says playfully. "I'm being hunted by this monster. If you help me kill it, I'll forgive your debts for 5 months, Lin offers. "Just that?" she scoffs. "Not interested." Lin ups the ante. "How about 10 months? Still, she shakes her head. As the creature advances, the system warns him that the situation is only growing worse. Desperate, Lin turns to her once more. "Please name your price. Any condition." She licks her lips and smiles devilishly. "Last time you didn't want to submit to me, but if you come beg on your knees and kiss my big toe, I'll help you." Lin grimaces, refusing the humiliating offer. "If I survive, we'll see about next time." The red-haired woman laughs proudly. "That's the spirit. Even my mother would have liked that." Suddenly, she grabs Lin and throws him toward the mountains. "All right, little cutie, let's have some fun." Finally, the little witch decides to assist. She uses her Tokyo Ghoul-like powers, hurling claws into the ground. The creature defends itself, its instincts prioritizing devouring her over Lin. The fight begins. Lin, now watching from a safer distance, warns her, "Be careful. It has a hand that can pierce through anything, even harm your soul from afar." She ignores the warning, diving headfirst into combat with blinding speed. Lin can barely keep up with the flurry of movement, but he's impressed by her ferocity. "She's incredible," he mutters, as she slashes at the creature, dealing blow after blow. Suddenly, something whizzes past Lin. "What now?" he mutters as the woman spits out creatures of her own, causing an explosion where their attacks meet. But the creature survives unscathed, its focus still on them. She flings her blade toward Lin, wrapping it around the creature's tentacle to shield him. The blade morphs into something akin to Orochimaru's snakes, biting at the monster's eyes and tearing into its flesh. Lin sees the eyes fall to the ground in pieces, but they begin flying back toward the creature's body. The blonde witch continues her relentless assault, piercing everything in sight. Lin, growing frustrated, shouts, "How stubborn is this thing?" He pulls out his Chicago toy pistol, firing wildly at the creature, only to see it regenerate with each shot. But finally, she notices something. A small demon inside the creature's largest eye. "If I kill that, the creature loses control," she declares, her eyes gleaming with determination. Just as she prepares for the killing blow, the creature opens its eyes wide, and a surge of electricity courses through both of them. The scene is dire as the battle continues. Despite her determination, the red-haired witch is caught by the creature midway through her attack. Lin watches in horror as a tentacle, now with her face on it, falls beside him. "What's happening?" Lin asks urgently. The witch, her voice strained, explains that the creature was analyzing her combat power and adapting its tactics. Now it's devouring and assimilating her. Lin tries to free her, but he can't. The creature's eye, now harnessing the power it took from her, causes the crisis to surge back to 99%. The eye, sensing its opportunity, leaps toward Lin. He activates his mutation to protect himself, but he's overwhelmed. The loss of the witch's fight has left him in a precarious situation. Desperation grips him as he searches for a solution. In a last-ditch effort, he opens the trapdoor and calls out, "Hey, I don't know who's down there, and I know you hate me for the lousy medicine, but now's the perfect time for you to get angry. Come out and defend our shop." The system indicates that the creature has a good impression of Lin. A small tentacle begins to rise, growing larger and more menacing. The tentacle continues to grow, becoming gigantic with a massive mouth. The system identifies it as a demonic baby. Lin is baffled, wondering how large it will become as it matures. He can't determine anything about it, but the monster seems to be giving him friendly licks, indicating its favor. Lin seizes the opportunity. "I need your help to deal with that thing. My friend was eaten." The creature, now seemingly at ease, stands idle. Lin offers a deal. "I'll give you 2 months of great potions." The creature's favorability increases slightly, and it continues to devour the witch. Determined, Lin heads toward the basement creature. He notices another attack coming and sees that the devil is analyzing the basement creature to adapt. The creature creates blue lines that wrap around and crush the demon baby. Lin realizes the odds are against him. He rushes towards the boulder with an eye and a portal. He dons his blood cape and enters the portal. Inside the creature, he searches desperately and finds a hand buried. It's the witch's. However, they are inside the creature, and many pieces of the brain are still missing. Lin realizes there's only a small part of the witch left, and decides to use the potion pool as the last resort to save her. As he's about to act, the creature targets them again, and Lin uses cursed hairs from the butcher to restrain the creature's tongue and pull both of them. But the giant eye of the creature reappears, and Lin is buried in flesh. Despair washes over him as he thinks about how he might die despite his efforts. He's never faced such dire circumstances before, and survival has never been easy. In a desperate bid, he breaks another potion and drinks it, initiating level 3 mutation. The witch's pupils shrink as she fails to recognize him. The creature attempts to analyze the mutation, but the system reports that the mutation is too abnormal, surpassing the creature's analysis capacity. A gigantic tentacle erupts from the already massive creature, covered in corrupted heads. The witch, now on the ground, is surrounded by disturbing, twisted heads, some of which resemble Lin's. The giant devil eye is finally torn apart, revealing a piece of Lin's face. The sanity of both Lin and the creature plummets as the creature decides to initiate a biological extermination. The creature summons a dragon, spewing fire at Lin. Lin's new form, a mass of tentacles with his face, might seem unthreatening, but he's unsure if this will work against the creature. The creature transforms into a hellish dragon, and Lin's form is increasingly corrupted. The witch is bewildered by the chaos, seeing Lin turn into a grotesque, fleshy entity. The creature's eye struggles to analyze the situation but is breaking down. The system alerts that a creature is attempting to engulf Lin, who is undergoing a special level 9 mutation. A flash of light erupts from the eye as a special mutant unit appears. Outside, the witch tries to communicate with Lin, but he's incoherent, only emitting strange sounds. She becomes frightened as she witnesses a piece of meat with twisted eyes forming a huge, grotesque eye. The system warns that the creature's entire body has failed, with 88% of it damaged. The eye grows larger and more distorted. The witch realizes that the puppet she controlled is dying. A hand emerges from the top of the giant eye, and a blood moon and clock tower appear inside it. A cauldron with ongoing operations is visible, and warnings about the flesh golem type 3 are received, indicating that it has sustained 98% body damage. The master of the Demon Association is informed about the loss of contact with Type 3, their most advanced demon hunter. He's incredulous, stating that only a root or king-level creature could be a match for Type 3. Despite the powerful rebels who refuse to return to the Association, they have managed to kill many of them. Bolstered by blood from Blood Peak, the Master orders the location of Type 3 to be pinpointed and instructs the dispatch of a predator to deal with the situation. Meanwhile, our protagonist is left to recover. The witch, now tending to Lin, pulls him from the remains of the creature. She's puzzled by how clean and unscathed he looks, despite emerging from such a gruesome ordeal. However, she can't dwell on this and needs to ensure he's okay. Lin, having completed the harrowing mission, has reached level 10 and is eligible for a class change. He wakes up in the witch's bed and questions why he's there. She reassures him, mentioning that it's been 2 days since he lost consciousness. Lin, still disoriented, asks for details about the monster and if all the evil has been eradicated. The witch confirms the monster's defeat and is intrigued by Lin's ability to vanquish such a powerful foe. She hints at her growing interest in him. Lin speculates that his excessive potion use may have caused his prolonged unconscious state, but the intense mutation must have destroyed the monster from within. Curious about the monster's remains, Lin insists on inspecting them. The witch informs him that the remains are at the back of the house. Lin hopes to find clues about his professor's whereabouts. When he sees the creature's remains, Lin is awed by the scale of his accomplishment, but realizes the monster was heavily mutated. He suspects that the power of the mutation might be affecting him. The witch warns him that his shadow seems tainted by demonic influence, signaling a potential problem. The system informs Lin that he's locked at level 10 until he selects a new class. It also warns him to discover what's happening with his body and control the curse by midday or face irreversible consequences. Part 22. Lin seeks answers about the monster's defeat and the aftermath. The witch promises to explain later but is eager to check his condition. Lin inquires about the monster's demise and the nature of the evil it contained. The witch, intrigued by Lin's survival and newfound power, reveals that the mutation's intensity contributed to the monster's destruction. Lin is concerned about his own transformation and wonders how his body returned to normal. He suspects the mutation's residual effects are affecting him and insists on investigating the creature's body for clues about his professor. The witch confirms that the creature's remains are at the back of the house and expresses her own apprehension about the monster's extreme mutation. Lin is determined to uncover any secrets that might help him understand what happened. As Lin explores the remains, he senses that the power of the mutation has had a lasting impact on him. The witch warns him about the demonic influence in his shadow, indicating potential danger. The system's mission to control the curse and understand the mutation becomes a pressing concern as Lin faces the looming deadline. Frustrated with the system's lack of clear answers, Lin angrily hits it, but it responds with its usual mechanical politeness, advising against such behavior. Realizing he has pressing matters to attend to, Lin rushes out of the witch's house, grabs the creature's body, and returns home. Once at home, he heads straight to Sarah's library. He remembers she had books on mutations and begins to read. From his research, he discovers 4 crucial points. 1. His mutation is still in the incubation phase, meaning it's not fully developed. 2. The mutation operates independently of his control. 3. The mutation, not him, was responsible for the creature's defeat. 4. He only regained consciousness due to the system's intervention. He wasn't supposed to wake up. Lin recalls receiving a body reorganization as a mission reward and uses it to locate the mutated areas within himself. The ability to see his entire body structure reveals significant changes. He notices that the mutation has strengthened him, but also made him appear increasingly monstrous. Determined to address the curse and mutation, Lin notices some poison nearby and decides to use it in an attempt to purge the mutation. He drinks the poison, but collapses, feeling the system's alarm about his deteriorating life. Despite the risk, the poison grants him some resistance. In his rage and desperation, Lin curses the mutation and vows to force it out. He prepares a powerful insecticide, believing it will drive the mutation away. He becomes increasingly reckless, throwing all available poison into his body. The system warns him that his skin is melting and he's suffering severe injuries. Lin, in his madness, taunts the mutation, proclaiming his willingness to endure any pain to rid himself of it. Lin concocts a dangerous plague potion and a defense-weaken potion, planning to weaken himself intentionally before drinking the demon's poison. He aims to combine the effects of the poison with the plague potion for maximum impact. As he prepares to consume the toxic mixtures, the system alerts him that he's critically poisoned and will die within 20 minutes. Despite this, Lin takes a healing potion first, then follows it with the poison, determined to resolve his crisis at any cost. Lin's desperation reaches its peak as he struggles with the powerful toxins coursing through his body. The combination of the plague potion and demon's poison is wreaking havoc on his system, pushing him towards the brink of death. He stumbles around, trying to find a way to stabilize himself or reverse the effects. The system continues to warn him of his rapidly declining health and impending death. In his weakened state, Lin clings to the hope that his extreme measures will purge the mutation from his body. He fights against the agony, his determination to rid himself of the demonic influence driving him forward. As the toxins take their toll, Lin's vision blurs, and he fights to stay conscious. He reflects on his past choices, the battles he fought, and the sacrifices he's made. Despite the pain, he remains resolute, hoping that his gamble will finally rid him of the curse. The system's warnings become increasingly urgent as Lin's condition deteriorates. Time is running out, and the effects of the poison and mutation are reaching their peak. Will Lin survive this self-inflicted crisis and find a way to overcome the demonic influence? Or will his actions lead to his ultimate demise? Lin's plan to make the virus go haywire is succeeding. It's wreaking havoc on his vital organs, and the system warns that he's facing death in 15 minutes. Exhausted, Lin acknowledges the severity of his situation but remains determined, believing that if endurance is the key, he won't lose. After 20 minutes with no apparent effect, he takes more poison, convinced that the battle is far from over. In his desperation, Lin starts preparing something even more dangerous, boiling a potion with disturbing contents. His psychotic determination is evident as he consumes the concoction, filled with twisted heads, and continues to command the mutation to emerge. His behavior becomes increasingly erratic. He's drooling, his eyes are twisted, and he's frantically calling for the mutation to come out. The system reports uncertainty, indicating fear on the part of the mutation. As Lin continues to force the mutation out, it starts to retreat into his body. Determined to succeed, Lin swallows more of the potion and struggles to keep the mutation at bay. His condition deteriorates further as he continues to consume poison, causing immense stress on his mind and body. The system warns that the creature is exhausted and his mental state is disintegrating. Despite the toll the poison and healing potions are taking on him, Lin perseveres. The creature, overwhelmed by the constant cycle of poisoning and healing, is nearing its limit. Lin's resolve to push through one more dose of poison showcases his relentless spirit. As he takes another gulp of the potion, the creature's fear escalates. Lin, on the brink of collapse, insists on one more dose. Even as his body and mind struggle to cope, he manages to crawl to the pot and pours another healing potion for himself. The struggle continues until Lin finally opens his eyes, discovering that the creature has bin vanquished. He receives a substantial amount of experience points, and an achievement for surviving an extreme number of poisonings in a short time. The system confirms that Lin has gained significant resistance to poison, and the Poison Cauldron achievement is awarded for enduring 500 instances of poisoning. Lin's determination and extreme measures have paid off, though he's left physically and mentally drained from the ordeal. Our hero has a headache thinking, "I remember that some part of my body was moving on its own. I just don't know what it was." But the little hand talks to him. "Phew, I'm saved." The system gives the description of the creature deformation that was born inside a human, with a combination of a golem, a faceless demon heart, fragments of an evil spirit, parts of a witch, and remains of a human man. It has everything and then some. Our boy is staring. Already runs to get more poison. But the hand says, "Enough, for God's sake, I'm going to eat you." Our hero responds, "Now I know why I couldn't drink the poisons anymore." The big creature there is in a fight, trying to eat him until something activates. Apparently, the desire to control the creature caused it to freeze. Because the devil is saying, "Are you trying to control me? A trash human like you is the one who needs to be controlled." One hand is fighting the other. There, our boy won't back down, takes a punch to his own hand. Ironically, when he hits his hand, he also loses life. The creature's hand tries to lick him and he bites its tongue. Take the opportunity to run away with it into the operating room. Going to try to rip it out. Grabs the hand to try to immobilize it. As the blade descends, Lin barely manages to block it with a smaller blade, his determination shining through. "I just want to give you a cut, Mendez. Then I'll turn you into something wonderful," he taunts, even as the fight intensifies. However, Lin soon loses his blade, and Mendez seizes the opportunity to strike him right in the thigh. The pain is sharp, but Lin clings to consciousness, spotting one of his potions nearby. He makes a desperate throw, aiming to get it into the creature's maw. "Do you think I'll let you drink that? Only in your dreams," Mendez retorts, his devilish grin widening. But Lin, activating the flesh cataclysm, sends out a grotesque hand that snatches the potion back and thrusts it into Mendez's grasp. For a moment, it seems as though Lin has gained the upper hand, but the poison in the potion turns out to be more than he can bear. The system chimes in, warning him that he has been poisoned severely. Lin starts to retch, colors and substances spilling out as he vomits rainbows, unable to keep his composure. Meanwhile, Mendez's hand taunts him. "Fool! Even if you poison me, you'll still feel the effects." Below, a creature stirs in the shadows of the basement, eyeing the situation with interest. The creature below sniffs at the air, disgusted, yet intrigued. "Are you trying to give me this?" it asks. But Mendez's hand takes the chance to retaliate. "Just wait until I finish puking, then I'll kill you," Lin groans, collapsing to the ground. "Truce?" he suggests weakly, panting. "In a little while, I'll cut you." The hand agrees. All right. She's not feeling hungry now. With a pinky promise sealed, they momentarily cease hostilities. "There's no reason for us to fight like this," Lin says, attempting to reason with Mendez's hand. "Why should we both lose out?" Despite their tenuous agreement, the battle instincts are hard to suppress. They find themselves bickering again, each struggling for dominance within the same body. As Lin heads back to the shop, he grumbles, "If I didn't have a customer to attend to, I'd cut you right now!" Just then, a loud knock echoes through the door. Lin's annoyance flares and he mutters, I'm coming. He swings open the door to find a buff goat-like creature standing before him, emanating power and confidence. The creature's level is marked at 69, its close combat abilities radiating a potent energy. Lin's heart races, sensing a new challenge ahead, and he prepares himself for what's to come. Our boy just welcomes Sarah's pharmacy. The goat is kind of, What the hell is this man looking at? Our boy there, banging a knife on the other. Yeah, welcome. I'm taking care of this place because the boss is away. So I'm the boss here. What do you need? My customer sanity has dropped a bit. The goat says, I'm a foreigner from a distant land, and I'm kinda sick. I was passing by and came to see if the doctor could take a look. Our boy says, you found the perfect person. Whatever the illness is, I can cure it without medicine. Our boy says to the hand, damn it, stop attacking me. Can't you see I have a customer? The goat asks, What's going on? You know what, boss? This pharmacy here is a little different. I think I'm leaving. You're too busy. Suddenly a clever man almost got the poor guy. Sanity has already dropped. Lin says, sorry, my little hand dropped it. The goat says, don't worry, kid, it's okay. What kind of place is this? What do you mean it fell? He clearly threw it at me. Lin says, come in, come, don't be afraid. But the goat is looking at all the destruction. What's this? Was there a war in this place? Lin explains that they're just going through some renovations. You're not going to tell me you think there was a life or death fight here? The goat saw a lot of cuts. Clearly there was a battle, but our figure is already on the back, already sharpening the blade. The goat thinks, something's wrong since I walked into this door here. Why does he look like a psychopath? Already swallows hard and says, kid, I gotta go see. Let me explain. I was rude. I walked in with my left foot. First, I have to go outside and come back with the right one. Lin says, oh, is that it? But you're not going to leave me alone, are you? He responds, and if I do, the customer is always right, right? But the protagonist goes crazy, saying that if he leaves, he will have to be cut to death. Now it's bad for the goat. He's already in shock. If I stay, he cuts me. If I leave, he cuts me. -10 sanity. Sweating, he thinks it's very scary. Why does the owner of this store have to be so cruel? He asks our boy, why are you fighting with your 2 knives? Are you practicing your combat skills? Lin replies, combat skills? No, I'm just trying to cut off my left hand. The curious goat. But why? The kid says he can't explain, but just know that this left hand here isn't very good. It eats people. If I don't cut it off, it will eat even my customers. The goat was scared of cannibalism. Lin turns around saying, relax. As long as I'm here, it won't be able to eat you. The goat wants to know, hold on, this is very suspicious. You're trying to kill me and blame it on your left hand, aren't you? I may be a foreigner, but I'm not that stupid. You know what, boss? You're too busy there with your so-called hand, aren't you? So I'm out. But Lin says it's over. I'm not busy anymore. Let's start diagnosing now. Already throwing a bunch of tools on the floor, the goat asks, what are you looking for? Why are only weapons falling out of this box? The goat tries to sneak to the door. Lin, talking to his own arm, says, you damn. I may not be able to cut you, but I'll call my neighbor and she'll finish you off. The goat thinks it's for him. Wait, he's warning me again. If that's the case, I'll have to handle this. He's going to try to fight our boy approaching. He thinks I'll come slowly and surprise him. Jumped up, but right then Lin said, now I'll cut you. He quickly hides the blade. Our boy looks, oops, I found my stethoscope. What's the problem, little goat? The poor guy is trembling all over and says nothing. Let's get started. I'm listening to the goat's heartbeat while holding his own hand. The goat asks, doctor, is there something wrong with me? Thinking about this doctor, is he imagining how he's going to cut me and roast me? Isn't he? But our boy says, your heartbeat is irregular. Have you had any severe fights recently? The goat says maybe, but thinks, damn it. He knows why my heart is racing. Our boy says he's showing signs of poisoning. The goat asks, what do you mean? Lin says, your skin has some dark spots. Your lips are purple and your eyes are sunken. All signs of poisoning. If you're exposed to any kind of fear in this situation, the rapid circulation of the poison can kill you. The goat's in trouble there. Lin asks, have you been attacked by something recently? The goat says it wasn't really an attack. He was in a swamp and ended up dragging his arm near some vines. However, he only used some bandages since it wasn't serious. The system analyzes it, and the protagonist discovers that there's a vine called a human-faced vine. However, he already has to defend himself from the hand again. Stop it! Are you trying to secretly attack me? The goat questions the human face. What's that? Our boy explains that it's a type of poisonous vegetation. It waits for creatures to pass by before attacking them. The good thing is that its poison takes a long time to incubate, so it's not fatal unless you get involved in certain situations. The goat wants to know what situations. Lin tells him if you get scared of things and that fear speeds up your heart, everything can get worse. To prevent the blood from spreading, you have to stay very still and calm. The goat says, yeah, I'm very calm here. I'm peaceful. But the hand is almost biting Lin. It's about to swallow. The poor goat's sanity drops by 20. While he fights the hand, he says, if the poison starts to spread, you'll start to smell a fragrance. It will make all the creatures around you want to devour you. Your luck is that our pharmacy is a safe place, and there are no scary creatures around. But there's already something on his mind. He says, wow, if the evil creatures are being attracted, the blood has to be removed. 1 minute late and you could die. But wait before removing it. It's good to use recovery medicine and drink plenty of water. However, the goat has already pulled out the knife to drain all the blood. The goat looks and says, now I've taken it out. Lin says, my dear visitor, why did you want to break free so badly? The angry goat retorts, you shouldn't have started your sentence, telling me to take it out. Now stop this wound here. Look how my business is bleeding. But the poor guy took a kick in the middle of and he fell to the ground, agonizing and saying, I don't want to be treated anymore, please. Lin, with his devilish face, says, the treatment started a bit rough, but I won't give up. Don't worry. This is the only pharmacy within 100 miles. If you leave here, the poison will kill you. The goat says, stop lying. There are plenty of villages around here. How come this one is the only pharmacy? Lin looks at a pile of heads and says, yeah, there were other pharmacies, but they became studies for our shopping mall. The Bode starts to pray. Please forgive me. I have an 84-year-old mother and a 2-year-old daughter. I just want to get out alive. Dr. Lin replies, don't worry. I'll remove that poison from you. I am a doctor, remember? From this door you only leave with good health. Now come with me. Here. This is a somewhat violent potion. However, as long as you have an antidote to neutralize it, everything will be fine. Pulling out the syringe, he explains, I can't say it cures everything, but it will leave you full of vigor, bringing it with the devil's hand. The Bode asks, how are you going to apply something so big in my bloodstream? He says, it won't be in the bloodstream, it will be there. Lin, without mercy, removes the boot to put the syringe and already leaves a like on this video. Do you remember in the last chapter, our hero was treating the goat? He was about to inject it with a needle. The little goat mentions that his starfish hurt less after the injection, and starts to wonder if this place really is a legitimate pharmacy and not some nefarious operation. He stands up and asks, you're not planning to cure me just to cut me up again, are you? Our hero assures him that such thoughts are unfounded. Blood-soft pharmacy always adheres to the principle that customers are gods. Here, everyone is treated well. With this, the little goat finally relaxes, and the system awards our hero 5 comfort points. But then, it's time to pay, and he asks, what if I don't have the money? Our hero stares. No money. The goat throws a bag of coins, joking that he was just playing. Our hero tells him not to joke about that. I was about to take a piece of you. The goat's blood pressure even rises a bit. However, he thanks our hero, not having expected such effective medicine. Here, Lin tells him it's a recipe that Bloodsaw has been perfecting for a long time, and they're the only ones in the area who have it. The goat wonders if they're the only ones with it. It could be dangerous if someone else gets bitten by that plant. But Lin informs him, my customer, we've done the calculations. Your total comes to 2,100 coins, but you've only given me 1,700, so you're short 400. The goat says he still has 300 and goes to look for the other 100. He throws the 300 on the table, searches, but can't find the rest, sweating as he admits he doesn't have it. Our hero stares, doesn't have it no matter, and throws a leaf on the table to explain. We always accept body parts as payment. Take a look at the values. You can sell the balls, the horns, or, as always, the eyes. Lin is sharpening his knives. Speak up. I suggest you sell me your eyeball. It's easy to recover afterwards. But the goat asks for patience. I have other things here that can be used. Take a look. He throws something on the table, claiming it's rare. Something he found recently. Not quite sure of its purpose. The system informs the protagonist. It's a piece of mithril skull, an extremely durable material used for making biological weapons by the Demon Association. Lin is curious. Demon association. Where did you get this? The goat says, there's a hilly area about 100 kilometers from here. It looked like a battle had taken place with many bodies around. But he only took this and ran, not daring to stay long. Will you accept this as payment? Our hero says, yes, of course. With that, he completes the mission and receives a radioactive cut finger. It causes new body parts to grow on a person who consumes it. With that, the goat leaves in a hurry. Our hero contemplates the notion of biological weapons from the demon association. He yells for Little Hand to wake up, who wakes up and bites his head. He stands there, as if he couldn't care less. The hand spits him out, asking, why didn't you hide? Our hero says he had consumed too much poison and his judgment was off. But now he understands the Little Hand doesn't have the guts to eat him. Little Hand opens his mouth and says, I'm going to eat you now. Showing his tongue and teeth, he asks, you're scared, aren't you? Look at the size of my teeth. It's not too late for you to beg for forgiveness. If you're sincere, I might even let you live. Lin is yawning. Are you done? If you're going to eat, eat. If not, get that tongue out of my face, Little Hand tells him. You're pretending. I know you're scared, and I'm going to eat you. See? Our hero says, you think I didn't notice? I know you're the one who's scared. If I drink poison, you're affected. And when you drink, I'm affected. I know if you eat my head, you'll die too. Little Hand says that's irrelevant. He's just worried because Lin might taste bad. But I'm going to bite you. Lin points. Bite. Here, go ahead, bite. I'm giving you the chance and you don't eat. Why don't you just admit that you're not going to do anything? But the system warns him. You partially manage to deceive the mutant, making him believe that if you die, he dies too. Complete the second phase of the mission, surviving without him, discovering that, in fact, nothing happens to him. Now you'll have to deceive even more. Dude. Lin is making a mocking face, but inside he's thinking, what the hell is this? If he had bitten my head just now, would I really have died? And he would have been fine? The poor guy's sanity dropped by 10. Mezinia, seeing him trembling. Asos, what's wrong with you? Lin says, we really have to make amends. A fight where if one dies, both die. Doesn't make sense, Mezinia says. He's not sure about that, but for now he'll let him live a little longer.